everybody, it's Mary Jane, and thanks so much for coming. It is Happy Easter tomorrow. I'll be hopefully wishing you a Happy Easter, and it's Saturday. And so, anyway, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about why I chose to self-publish my books. So, hopefully, this might be a help to some of you who want to publish, and go ahead and share some of what you have done in the group itself. All right. So starting out, let me just go back a little bit. When I started writing my books, this is way back when, and I never was really serious about it. I just did it a little bit here and there, and I just started getting serious this year, believe it or not, about writing. And one of the things that I really, really wanted to do was that I wanted to be traditionally published. And I think that's what everybody wants. They want to go into a bookstore back when bookstores were more common anyway, and they want to see their book in hard copy, hardcover, preferably at the very front of the store. They want, new book by, and your name on it. And, have something like Doubleday or HarperCollins or Penguin Books or something of the sort. And so, that's still possible. There are still publishing companies out there, obviously. But the fact is, self-publishing is really well, there's pros and cons. We'll get into that. Let me just go about with traditional publishing. When I decided I'm going to be different, I am definitely going to work with a publishing company, and we're going to go for there. Well, to do that, you need to find an agent. An agent is a person who spends their time reading manuscripts, and they are the go-between between the publishing company and the author. And so their job is to find an author's work that the publishing company will say, hey, I really like this. Our reader's going to write this. Talk to the author. We're going to publish the book, and bingo, you got a book deal. You sign the contract, and you collect royalties while you write your next book. And that's all of our dream, right? And so anyway, that's not a bad thing. When you realize how much royalties you're getting, and I research this, and you can do it too, you're really not getting a lot of royalties, and just because a big name publishes your book is no guarantee that everybody else is going to like your book. The agent likes your book, the publishing company likes your book, but that doesn't mean that everybody in the world's going to like your book. They might, and we all hope they do, but it doesn't always happen that way. So it's a chance they're taking on you. But anyway, back to getting an agent. Well, getting an agent works for free, and they get a cut of the royalties after they get a winner, shall we say. And so an agent is inundated with manuscripts and query letters. A query letter is simply an introduction to you and your book. And so if they like your query letter, then they'll say, okay, well, let me see your book. And so just because you get an agent does not necessarily you got to land a publishing contract. But agents, because they want to make money, they're not making any money from you. They want to get, they want to find a winner right away. So therefore, they're reading manuscripts and query letters and manuscripts. And so that's, just because you get an agent doesn't necessarily mean you got a contract. So anyway, before you get an agent, you have to figure out what genre your agents like. So some like mystery, some like thriller, some like paranormal, some like romance, some like nonfiction, and then nonfiction can be like all kinds of history. It could be to do things do yourself, science, math, textbooks, all these things. So you find an agent that likes books in your genre, the book that you wrote. And somebody once said that if they were asked for somebody to find an agent for them, it's like asking somebody to get a husband for them. Oh boy, but I thought that was a good analogy, because an agent is so different. An agent's a human being, and what they like and what they don't like, may not be necessarily, the way they work, a good fit for you. So anyway, to get an agent, you have to write a query letter. And of course, writers know how to write, so that's a query letter is no big deal, right? Or wrong. Query letters, if you do an internet search on how to write a query letter, you're going to find tons and tons and tons and tons of advice. And writing a query letter is tough, very tough. So anyway, you're ready to write your manuscript, right? You have to write a query letter. So again, we're doing a lot of work. And to just get the agent, and then once you get the agent, get it to the publishing company. And then what one person told me was very, very good and just like hit me between the eyes. They said once you have once that you are traditionally published, the company can take your book and change it the way they want it. And when I heard that, it's like, okay, that scared me because I'm already working with an editor or two or three or four. I'm already changing it according to what my editors want. And so, but then again, I approve or disapprove anything the editors say. And I'm very easy to work with. I really am. But once I hand over my baby to a publishing company, and they're like, no, I'm going to change this and I'm going to change that, and you don't have anything to say over it, but yet your name's going to be on it. I sort of like had a problem with that. So anyway, I was like, okay, self-publishing for me. And another thing, somebody said, if you want to get an eye of a traditional publisher, the best thing you can do is to be a success at self-publishing. And in fact, that's how the 50 Shades of Grey came to be about. I've never read the book. I read, but the thing was, that was self-published, and from what I read, the editing was horrendous. But it was caught the internet by storm for some reason. I mean, it's mommy porn and not well written from what I heard. And so, but because it like took the Amazon world by storm, some publisher got a hold of it and said, okay, we're going to take this and we're going to clean it up editorially, and we're going to publish it. At least I hope they've cleaned up the editorial errors. I heard it was very poorly edited. But anyway, and that really got me. I was like, okay, if I really, and so we'll cross that bridge when it comes to when I have publishers coming to me and saying, hey, we want to publish your books. So we'll worry about that then, about them changing it or not changing some things. So let's go back to self-publishing. Years and years ago, there was such a thing called Vanity Press. And basically what they were um, printers that would take your manuscript and they would bind it and they put a cover on it and they would give you, you'd pay them a couple $100 or $1,000 or, depending on how many books you wanted. And they give you a huge box of books to put in your garage. Supposedly you're supposed to sell these books to all your friends, neighbors, relatives, etc. This was before the internet happened. And that was a Vanity Press. And they got their money. You got a book or a box of books. And I remember two people in particular. My uncle was one. He published 2 books this way. And somebody from the local area where I live currently published this, put in the library. And at first, like, oh, local author, this is a wonderful book by the local author. And anyways, like, please buy this book and help the library out. It was like $10 or something like that. And as time went on, they were selling those books for, I think, 2 for 25 cents. And so there's still, you can still publish that way. There's still publishers that will take your book and they will publish it. They will put a cover on it and they will bind it up and they will give you a box of books. And that is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's very, very nichey. Okay, so if you want a collection of Uncle Joe's stories for your family reunion, and you have a family, reunion coming up, and there's like 200 people there, and so you just want something to bind up Uncle Joe's stories, so you write it up, you take it to a publisher like that. You take your box of books to a family reunion, and you have a physical book in front of them, and people have physical money. You make an exchange, you can sell your books that way. Or if you want to do grandma's recipes or something like that. One of my former bosses did a book like that. I think he wrote the book and had it published in maybe 2 weeks. But he was doing it because there was a convention coming up and there was thousands and thousands and thousands of people. He got a booth there, and so the book was about how to go to the top of that company. And so anyway, he was able to sell. He took his boxes of books there, and he sold like several hundred books right there because it was a one-time event. He had a physical book there, and people had money, so they made a change, and he made sales. So that's one way of doing it. if you would put the same book on Amazon and he would have just handed out flyers, chances are he wouldn't have sold as many, because Amazon is print on demand. Now let's go to Amazon, where we all know and love, and they have what they call, the KDP press. That's for, it used to be Create Space, now it's KDP. And so now it's basically POD, print on demand. Basically, so if I write a book and you want to buy it, they print it and they send it to you. So you're not getting it overnight necessarily. You have to wait a little bit. But that's a wonderful way. That's why, but, and that's why most publishers do it. Now, with the KDP and with the Amazon, there came out a whole bunch of people who capitalized on this, and they decided that they wanted to uh, it was like they wanted to, and it was a very, very good idea. They wanted to help you publish your book, and they call themselves, generally speaking, hybrid presses. And basically, what they do is they're just like the old-fashioned vanity press, but they will give you a cover. They will do editing. A lot of these will do editing, and they will, work with a very nice graphic designer to have a really pretty cover. They will format the book so that it can be for print, and they will also do it for ebooks. And then they charge you a huge price. So I had a friend of mine. He went with a hybrid press. I mean, there's several of them, and I'll talk about. There's a Book Baby. There's Ingram Spark. There's Westbow Publishing. There is Christian Faith, to name a few off the top of my head. Well, I looked into, because I didn't know what I was looking for when I was about ready to publish David's Faith. And so I was looking into this, and I was looking into Christian Faith, because it comes out, oh, you have a book, leave a legacy and so on and so forth, which is really nice. And so again, they offered editing, they offered cover design, they offered formatting, and offer printing. And then they said, we'll put you in Barnes and Noble, and we'll put you in Amazon. And that's sort of deceptive in a way. Let me just tell you, first of all, their editing is I don't know how good or bad their editing is, depending on what company you go for. You're going to get good or bad editors, but you really don't have control over the editing, which is okay. You have some control over the graphic design for your book cover. They format it nicely, and then they will market it, quote unquote, market it by Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So I think that I was thinking initially, and I think a friend of mine who published this way was thinking that, oh dear me, that every time I go into a Barnes and Noble bookstore, there's going to be my book, preferably at the front, of course. I'm going to have book signings. Everybody's going to want my book. But see, what they say when they put it on Amazon and put it on Barnes and Noble, what they're saying is we'll put it on the website. They do most of these hybrid presses do very little actual marketing. It's self-publishing, it's print on demand, and they take a lot of the work off of you, of the author, which is a nice thing. They charge a ton of money. We're talking several thousand. When I looked into it, I was looking about at $5,000. And so they charge you a ton of money. And so one of my other friends who was looking into this, was self-publishing several books by himself, he was told that most self-publishers sell about an average 20 books. And I think that's about right. You really do when you do that. And so my friend he really wanted to, he did it all himself. He just sent it to Amazon. He did not go with a hybrid publisher because he was looking at some of them and they were just way too expensive. And so what he really wanted to do was he wanted to publish his books. He wanted to have them on Amazon, and they were print on demand, so that basically as a legacy, so that when he passes away, his family and his friends would have something, he would leave something behind in tangible form. And that's fine and wonderful, and he did it himself. And I'm basically doing the same thing myself. I'm hiring the editors. My graphic designer, Jahelia, she did my David book. And so she's eagerly waiting for my Esther. So am I. So we work with, the graphic designer can be, every graphic designer is different. And so when you're working with a graphic designer, again, that's, you have an idea or you don't have an idea, and your graphic designer is supposed to get you, you know, an idea. You don't have to make it say, oh, yeah, that's what I was looking for. So a graphic designer can be tough, and graphic designers are very important because people do judge the book by the cover. So I'm very, very happy with my David's Faith cover. And so anyway, but yes, you're working with a graphic designer, you're working with an editor. Some editors will format a book. I've never formatted a book in my life. I've heard that formatting is very, very easy. Once you have the tools, once you know how to do it, you can format a book within a half an hour. And well, I believe that. So formatting, but those are the three things you have to figure out when you are going to self-publish. And that's what the hybrid presses have taken that heavy burden off of you. They charge you a heavy, hefty fee, and you're going to sell about 20 books. So depending, you could do all that yourself, which I chose to do, hire my own graphic designer because I have more control, hire my editors. Some of my editors, I say I hire, but they get it, they do it for free because, well, uh, I try to get people who are in the, I have friends in the industry. And so anyway, those are the three things. And the formatting, my husband's supposed to format my book too. So that is the three things that the hybrid presses do for you. And so the bad thing about the hybrid press is they do very, very little marketing. I mean, putting it on Amazon, putting your book on Amazon is anybody can do that. I mean, authors can do that. That's no big deal. Um, Putting a Barnes and Noble is the same thing. You're just submitting, uploading a manuscript. After it's properly formatted, the cover is, you upload, you press a couple buttons, and there it is. So that's not a big deal. So once you have a book, no matter how it is, whether you go with a hybrid press or not, and that's totally up to you. I'm not telling you what to do. But once you have a book out there, then it's up to you, you, dear author, to market it. And so it's on Amazon. We'll just use Amazon as a, we'll just use Amazon as an example because most of us, if we're authors, we'll have our books on Amazon. So it's up to us to use things like email marketing, like social media marketing, like signatures in our emails, use word of mouth to market the books. And so that's where the hybrid publishers really fail. That's where the traditional publishers really succeed. And so when you're self-publishing, you get to market your own books. And you are going to succeed or fail, not so much on your books, but how well your marketing is. And so that's what I am learning finally. And so marketing the books is not the fun part. Fun part's writing the books. And I think most authors would agree. And again, with marketing, you can always hire people to help you with different things, or you can do it yourself. And so I'm the type of person, do it yourself. You're spending, you're spending time, you're not spending money. So anyway, that's something for all of you to think about. If anybody wants to write a book, is the marketing. And marketing can actually, get you to top, can you get recognized, even be on the best New York Times best-selling list. But we really have to get the word out there. And as an independent self-publisher, that's up to you. And that's a tall order sometimes. And so it's just something, word of mouth, keep contacting people, and it's sales. It's like, here, buy my book. Here's the link, buy my book, And so, but you get enough of that, get people talking about that, and get good reviews on Amazon. And by the way, Amazon says that an author cannot give money or an incentive for people to write a review. We can ask nicely, and that's about all that we can do is we can ask nicely, please, write a review of my book. By the way, buy it. Because one thing is also when you are asking people to write a review of your book for Amazon, which does help your rating, is that you want them to buy the book off of Amazon. And you want them to buy, you can't buy the book from yourself and say, hey, give me $10, I'll give you a book. but you want them to buy it off of Amazon so that Amazon says they are a verified purchase. Because anybody can write a review about something, but not necessarily have bought it. So you have to ask the people, say, please, would you buy my book and would you write a review for me on Amazon after you read the book? And so therefore they are a verified purchase on Amazon, and therefore they are writing a review. So that's, the one thing about getting reviews is before you launch the book, get a whole bunch of people, as many as you can, take a target number and say, I'm going to reach this target, and then give them people uh, the pre-published copy, probably the PDF via their email, and say, could you read this? And when it comes out, would you please buy the book and then write a review for me so you are a verified purchase. So that's where I'm at right now as I shoot this video. I am assembling people that I want to say later say, would you read my book? And right after I put it on Amazon Live, I'll send everybody a link and they can actually put a review there. So that's where I am at personally. And at this point, I have 3 books ready to be in limbo. Things don't happen as fast as I'd like sometimes. I guess we're all like that. I can be a little bit impatient. So, but I hope that this video about self-publishing, the pros and cons, the hybrid publishing, the vanity publishing, how many books you could expect to sell if you don't market, and how to market a little bit. I hope that this has helped you a little bit in your own publishing and writing efforts. And in the meantime, keep reading, keep writing. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.